Yo, what's up, guys? Quick live stream. Let's lock in some bets. Games are about to start and lines are moving. Injuries, sharp action, weather changes, tons of reasons why sportsbooks are constantly moving around lines. And we're going to look for some plays on the popular platforms. I already got a shit ton of bets open. Some of them looking halfway decent. So we need, Diggs over 6.5 receptions. I mean, we'll see. I already got Walker to score a touchdown. But anyways, let's look for some plays. So the first play, oh, baby. So we got some promos too, so that's good. But the first play we're going to start with is Kyle Hamilton over 3.5 tackles plus assists, okay? So you're going to see all the sports books have this over heavily favored, right? The way that Underdog Fantasy works is they have fixed payouts. You take a player's over or under, over, under, over, under. It doesn't matter at all. Any 3-pick entry, we're always getting a 6x payout. So the reason the over is the sharp pick is, again, if we take the over or the under, we're going to be getting the same payout. So we want to take the over because you're going to see all the sports books have the over super heavily favored. So this seems like a good play to go with. And I'll try to move quickly. So what we want to do is we want to, we want to find some plays to pair with this, ideally. So what else do we have? So I already have a play on Ingram. So unfortunately, the way that Underdog Fantasy works is, I already have a bet on this player, so I'm not going to be able to place another bet. But regardless, what we can do, I already included Ingram in a previous play. At least I believe so. Maybe I didn't. But anyways, we got some promos we got to run through too. So let's just go here. And where do we want to start? So I'm already on Walker touchdown. This play seems pretty good. If you're not already on Kenneth Walker to score a touchdown, I think this is a pretty good line on Underdog Fantasy, taking the over, right? So again, like Underdog will give you the same damn payout if you take Kenneth Walker to score or to not score. So the reason you'd want to take his over is you can see all the sports books have him heavily favored to score a touchdown. Pinnacle, which is known to be Pinnacle, which is known to be the sharpest, smartest sports book out there, they got him all the way up at minus 185. So all these books have his over super heavily favored. So that's a really good line on Underdog Fantasy. But again, I'm already on it, so I'm not going to be able to play it again. What else do we like? So we can take a look here. And we can just find, ideally some plays with that we can go with. So here's another good line. I mean, again, I'm not going to be able to bet it. I'm already on Gardner to throw an interception. I think so. So you can see I already have him to throw an interception. So even though I would love to include this pick in another slip, over 30.5 passing attempts, you're getting the 6x payout. You're going to see I already hit my max betting limit on Kyle Hamilton as well. Anyways, I think all three of these picks are very good, but I'm not going to be able to pair them because I guess I've already paired them together before. But anyways, we'll find some more plays. So what we can do is we can go back here and we can just kind of take a look at what do I already have open. So I already have Hamilton. I already have Patrick Queen over 2.5 assists. But we need to find some more good plays, okay? So this play seems pretty good, right? So we have Divine Diablo. He's heavily favored to go under on all the sports books. So you can see Caesar Sportsbook. Who knows why? Sometimes it's lineup changes. He's projected to be in the game less long. Like every time the lineups change around, the market has to move, right? So you can see he's heavily favored on all the books to go under 8.5 tackles plus assists. And that's exactly how we beat these fixed payout platforms like PrizePicks and Underdog Fantasy, is we want to see spots where the books have an over or an under heavily favored. And in this case, it's his under. All the books have his under heavily favored. Bijan Robinson to not score a touchdown. And then we have TJ Watt over 1.5 tackles. All the books have his over heavily favored. So this is just looking at the arbitrage tool. So then we're going to go with TJ Watt over 1.5 solo tackles, right? So again, Odds Jam is just comparing the lines on Underdog Fantasy to those on the sports books. So if you just go over to, defensive, safe props, and then if we look at TJ Watt, right, he's super heavily favored on all the books to go over. Underdog's going to give us the same payout, so we want to take his over. Then we got Jameson Williams over 1.5 receptions. So we can just go here. So we got 3 good picks to start this off. And again, underdog, there's limitless crap we can bet on, right? So we want to zone in on where are the plays that actually have an edge, right? And that's exactly what OddsJam is doing, is it's constantly scanning the market, pointing out, hey, here's a play that looks good. Sam Howell under in passing yards. You can see all the books have his under heavily favored. Can kind of follow the line movements and crap like that too. But anyways, here we go. We got a nice little 3-pick entry. And if we go back here, we can refresh this, see if there's anything else we want to add in. And again, I play a lot of these 3-pick entries on Underdog Fantasy. I'm already on Pacheco not to score. So this seems like a good play to go with. We got 3 good picks, and we can lock it in. From the OddsJam tools. So there we go. We got our next entry for today. And a lot of people ask me like, yo, why don't you just place 1 bet a day on Underdog, right? And it's like they only give me an $100 max bet size on all these plays. Sportsbooks don't have that high of betting limits. So you really want to be able to get down the volume. So you can see here like $100 max bet size. But anyways, we have some promos now we want to go with on Underdog Fantasy. So what I got to do is we got to figure out, so boosted payouts. All of these are boosted payouts. So we need to find a ton of picks. So you're going to notice 2-pick entries go up to a 4x payout. Usually, right? So you can see right here, when you select 2 picks, you're going to be getting a 4x payout for this underdog promo. Usually these underdog promos, you only get a 3x payout. So 4x is huge, right? So we just need to find some good picks to go with. And we also need to see which outcome is more likely. Mark Andrews, do we want to take his over or his under? So Mark Andrews, PrizePicks has his line at 5. All the books have his line at 4.5 with the over favored. So you can see this is the OddsJam sportsbook screen. And again, I'm not going to create a better model than DraftKings or Pinnacle. So we're using all this market information to make good bets. So you can see, we obviously want to take Mark Andrews over on Underdog for this promo. PrizePicks has his line higher. All the books have his over heavily favored. So we want to take his over. And then what we can do is just kind of fly through and find some good picks to pair with. So Sam Howell under 229.5 passing yards. You can see all the books, right? DraftKings, everyone, Caesars, they all have his under favored, right? These are all, DraftKings, Caesars, $10 billion companies. They have really good models, really good data feeds. They're telling you Sam Howell is more likely to go under 229.5 passing yards, only $5 max bet size, but this is going to be my first play. And then it's okay. So now we got 1 play down, and now we need to see Stafford passing touchdowns. So we can go over to passing touchdowns. Whoops. So I want to go here, and then I want to go to passing touchdowns. And just trying to fly through because the games are about to start. So we have Stafford. Stafford's favored to go over, right? You can see all the books have his over favored. So if Underdog Fantasy, they're going to give us the same payout. If we take him to go over or under, over, under, over, under, we want to take his over for this promo. So it's okay, we already got this play on Mark Andrews. Tiny bet size that they gave me. And then we want to take Ingram under in rushing yards, right? Just following the data. All the books have his under heavily favored. And with this promo, we're getting a boosted payout. This is rushing yards. Keontae Ingram under 36.5 rushing yards. So here we have another little entry. And then we can go back here and we can refresh this. And just kind of try to find some good plays to go with. So Walker, I'm not going to be able to bet, right? I would love to, but you can see here, if I just try to include something, they're not going to let me bet it because I already have a play on Walker. I've already hit my $100 limit on Kenneth Walker because I have him to score a touchdown, which I do think is a really good play on Underdog Fantasy. So where is this? So here we go. We got Walker to score a touchdown. But anyways, let's go back here. So I'm not going to be able to include this promo on Walker. If you can, I don't know what to tell you. Sorry, I'm not going to be the guy who gives you the pick today. But anyways, we can go to player passing attempts now for Mahomes. And let's just kind of see. So you can see here, right? All the books have his line at 37.5 with the under favored. It seems so simple, but again, you're not going to create a better model than BetMGM, Pinnacle, Caesars. They're all telling you they all have his under slightly favored, not huge favorite, but that he's more likely to go under 37.5 passing attempts. So it's like, okay, I want to get over to PrizePicks too. Want to make sure I have enough time. So we want to take him under, right? We want to take Patrick Mahomes under. And then, what do we want to take? So Ingram, we already have a play on. Pacheco already have a play on. Lamar over 9, rushing attempts. So we want to see discrepancies, right? Most plays aren't discrepancies. Lamar Jackson, you can see all the books have his line at, 9.5 rushing attempts, PrizePicks. So what we want to do is we want to take Lamar over 9. Small edge, value on the over. That's a good play to go with. And I've already hit my limit on Lamar, I guess. So I'm not going to be able to include that. I think I have him from a play earlier in the week. But anyways, we can delve down a little lower because we're getting the boosted payout and just kind of lock in some picks before we go over to PrizePicks. So I took that play with the play for, Sunday Night Football. And then the final play we want is Jordan Love completions. So let's look up Jordan Love. And again, this is just the OddsJam Sportsbook screen. Kind of lets you, browse any market you want to, see where the market is. So you can see he's projected to go under. All the books have his line, first of all, lower, or they have his line at 20.5 with the under favored. So the under is the more likely outcome, just following the market, following the data points. So we want to take his under. And then we want one more pick that we can go with. And we can take an esports play. I don't care what I'm betting on. A lot of people, it's all about just placing a lot of bets with an edge. This is only a $5 max bet size promo. So you just want to get down a bunch of plays with an edge. So Jordan Love, we wanted to take his under because his under is slightly favored on all the books. Find a play with a slight edge to pair it with, and we're getting the boosted payout. So all good to go there. So then we can head over to PrizePicks and try to lock in some plays before the game starts. See if there's anything new that's attractive. And we do have some new plays that are attractive. So and it's the same strategy on PrizePicks as it is on Underdog Fantasy. So you can see they already bumped this line down. I was trying to get him under 3 receptions. They already bumped him down to 2.5. So some of these plays can move pretty damn quickly. But anyways, the first play we can go with is Hurts to not throw an interception. So this game obviously is still a bit away. Sunday Night Football. And I already have this in a previous slip. But if you just look, right, it's all about the data, right? Like, I'm not going to create a better model than DraftKings Caesars. All these books, set their own lines. So we just kind of want to use the odds that they're putting out to our advantage. So you can see Jalen Hurts is favored. He's a favorite to not throw an interception tonight. And, DraftKings is just one data point. We want to consider every book, right? There's hundreds of sports books out there. Every book is a data point. Hard Rock, Barstool, all these books have sophisticated models. They're setting their own lines. Fliff, they all have Jalen Hurts heavily favored to not throw an interception. Caesars, minus 148. All these books, right? We have hundreds of data points. They're all telling us, hey, Jalen Hurts, less likely to throw an interception. So it's like, okay, that seems like a pretty good play that we can go with. But we still need some more picks. So what we can do is we can go back here and let's just try to find some, last minute plays that we can go with. So it's the same strategy here. Ingram heavily favored to go under 1.5 receptions. This play I already gave out on Twitter, but whatever. We'll just kind of fly through some bets, lock some things in before the game starts. So Ingram, right? You can see books have been moving his line towards the under, right? Just kind of taking a look at the market. All the books telling us, hey, he's more likely to go under. It's kind of like keep it simple, stupid. Don't there's no need to overcomplicate this. Damn, so we got some other good picks. So what we can do is we can go back here and we can take Jerry Jeudy under 4 receptions. All the books have his line at 3.5. So on PrizePicks, it all boils down. So you can see all the books have his line at 3.5 receptions. On PrizePicks, if you kind of go through the math behind PrizePicks, what you'll see is, this is a fixed payout platform. Any 3-pick entry you create, you get a 5x payout, which isn't good. You don't want to play 3-pick entries on PrizePicks. They're horrible. They only give you a 5x payout, whereas Underdog Fantasy, again, for these 3-pick entries, they're giving us a 6x payout, 100 to win 600. But on these platforms, they have fixed payouts. So it all just boils down to what percentage of your picks can you win. And on PrizePicks, you just have to win above 54.2% of your plays to be profitable. So as a simple example, Cooper Kupp, right? We take his over, we get a 10x payout in a 4-pick entry. We take his under, we still get a 10x payout. So what we want to see is like, hey, which is more likely? Is he more likely to go over? Is he more likely to go under? You look at all the sports books, a lot of these books only have one-way markets. So like FanDuel, they only let you bet on Cooper Kupp to score. There's no odds on his under. So you kind of want to ignore those books. They don't even have a real market. They don't even have odds on the under. All the books that are letting you bet on Cooper Kupp to not score, they have his under heavily favored. Minus 145, minus 155. He's more likely to not score a touchdown. So I know we included this in a previous play, so you obviously don't have to include it if you don't want to, but 2 good plays that I also like, and I'm trying to move quickly because the games are about to start, are Pacheco. He's also heavily favored to not score, and Cooper Kupp, right? So then we have a nice little 5-pick flex play, and we can lock this in. So there's a little PrizePicks play before the game starts. So we got down the underdog promos. What I would like to see, 32 seconds. Probably not going to have enough time to bet something on ParlayPlay. But we can start building a ParlayPlay slip, whatever. Well, we can see. So ParlayPlay, it's the same strategy. Like I've explained this. We'll give it a minute to see, and then we can lock in a few NFL bets before I get into watching football. But again, on ParlayPlay, it's the same thing, right? Like they don't change your payout based on you selecting over versus under. It's really interesting. These platforms, they're very different from traditional sports books, right? Like whatever 2 picks we select, we're going to be getting a 3x payout, for these 2-pick power plays. So you just want to use the lines that sports books are putting out, to your advantage. So you can see here, and it's always interesting to see all the bets fall off once the games start. But you can see all the books are telling you, hey, he's a lot more likely to go under 2.5 receptions as opposed to over. So we want to take his under. And Underdog Fantasy doesn't have this line. That's the benefit of having multiple sports books. As you can see, they don't have a receptions lineup because the under's good. All the books are telling you, he's a lot more likely to go under as opposed to over. So in our ParlayPlay entry, we'd want to take his under. And we got a lot of bets open on ParlayPlay, so it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. So these fixed payout platforms, PrizePicks, Underdog Fantasy, the main strategy is just compare their lines to sports books, see spots where books have an over or an under heavily favored. And, this is a platform, ParlayPlay, I've used for like 4 months now, up $6,500 profit. Just following the data, nothing complicated. So what we can do is we can go back here, and a lot of these bets are probably going to start to disappear with the game starting, but hey, shit, man. Oh my God. But we just got heaven in esports. So look at this. I mean, this is crazy, right? So if you look at ParlayPlay, they have Ducky's line at 35.5. I mean, this is absolutely insane. His line is 30 on Underdog Fantasy. So what you could do is you could middle bet this, right? We could hit the under 35.5, the over 30. It's crazy because all these books set lines independently. That's a huge discrepancy, right? So we could hit the over 30. It's like buying a stock for 30 and then selling it at 35.5. That's middle betting. We'd hit the over 30 here, the under 35.5 here. If he has 30 to 35, in the first 2 maps, we're going to win both bets. So it's like, damn, that seems like a pretty good play to go with. So now you can see some of the bets are starting to clear out because the 10 a.m. games are starting. But we got some esports value, so I'm going to stick around for a second. Enjoy the games if you hop off. But you can see, like, this is insane. Sometimes there's crazy value in CS, in these random sports. 35.5, 30, 30.5. That's what we want to be alerted to as a sports bettor, right? You don't just want to bet on random shit. You want to find plays that have value. Aaron Jones, under 3 receptions. All the books have him at 2.5. So we're just going to, create some entries on ParlayPlay. Then I'll hop off and watch football for the rest of the day. Probably slam some bets. So let's take a look here. And let's just lock in some plays on ParlayPlay. So ParlayPlay, the optimal slip type. Again, all these books work in pretty similar ways. So we have Marquise Brown under 5 receptions. So it's like, okay, we can just start building a slip. Kadarius Toney under Patrick Mahomes under 26.5. So, okay, we want Mahomes under 26.5 completions. And we can kind of keep it going. Mahomes under 26.5. We want Ingram under in rushing attempts, and we want Alex DeBrincat over in shots on goal. So it looks like the most random slip of all time. NHL, CS2. So we already have a play in the Cardinals game. So we don't want to take, Ingram under with a defensive player on the Cardinals to go under. That doesn't make a ton of sense. But we have Brad over. And what game is this in? This is in the Bruins game. So it's like, okay, we can take in the Bruins game, Brad over 2.5 shots on goal. Right? And then you want to go with a 6-pick entry, 40x payout. Again, just finding 6 plays with an edge. Right? On all these platforms, they have fixed payouts. On ParlayPlay, any 6 picks you select, you're getting a 40x payout. So you just want to find the picks that are most likely to win. And the way you do that is you just compare the lines on ParlayPlay to sports books, and you see spots. Granted, this isn't the highest profit margin play, but you can see all the books have Brad heavily favored to go over 2.5 receptions, 2.5 shots on goal. So that's a good play to go with. Brock Purdy under 28.5 passing attempts. All the books have him at 27.5. So we can start building a new pick. And again, they only have a max bet size of $60. So the hard part is I want to get down a bunch of plays with an edge, right? I don't want to place one pick with an edge. So you can see there were a ton more plays in CS2 that have crazy value, 36.5. The books are focused on their football lines, but right now the value is crazy in esports. So we have this player, Wolfie, whose line is 36.5 on ParlayPlay. Like, this is absolutely insane. His line is 31 on Underdog. That would be a crazy middle bet, right? Hit the over 31, the under 36.5. Again, this is what's crazy and why sports betting is so profitable. You think about the stock market, there's one price for a stock. You go to Fidelity, E-Trade, Robinhood, Charles Schwab. This is the price of Facebook stock, 308.65, right? Whereas in sports betting, 31, 36.5. All these books set lines independently. They're trying to set thousands of lines, and sometimes they screw up, right? So here's another CS2 play, but this is for a different game, 25.5, 24, 23.5. So values on the under on Underdog Fantasy, on ParlayPlay. Again, what kind of sucks about esports is you just have less data points, right? So Kevin Durant, over 12 rebounds plus assists. All the books have his line at 12.5. So, there's a lot of value on ParlayPlay. So usually I try to clear out the books of all the value I can find before I start watching the game. So you can see right here, Javonte Williams, right? Under 49.5 rushing yards. All the books have his line at 46.5. So a little bit of value. So what we can do is we can look at rushing yards, and we can just take a look at Williams quickly, right? 46.5, 45.5. Pinnacle has the line at 46.5 with the under heavily favored. So on ParlayPlay, all you got to do to be profitable is win above, I think it's 54% of your picks, or 53.9, something like that. And you're going to see all the books, first of all, have his line lower, and then Pinnacle, Penny, the sharpest bookmaker, they not only have his line 3 yards lower, but they have the under heavily favored. So you want to consider the juice. All these books have his line lower, under heavily favored. Caesars, line lower, under heavily favored. William Hill, line lower, Underdog, under heavily favored. So it's like, okay, all these picks seem good to go with. So we want to take Williams, under 49.5 rushing yards. And then we want to go back to the optimizer, which again is just going to scan the market and be like, hey, maybe here's a good play with value. Kenny Williams, all the books. Kenny Pickett, all the books have his line at 32.5 yards. So it's like, okay, passing attempts, we want to take the over. And then we got another 6-pick entry with an edge. And we can lock this in. And that'll be our second 40x parlay of the day. Right? So you can absolutely make money betting on parlays. You just have to so maybe we can get one more play down. So we have Hampus over 1.5. We have Jalen Hurts over 9.5 rushing attempts, right? So why do we like Jalen Hurts rushing attempts? All the books have him heavily favored to go over. Pretty simple. Jokic over 38.5 points plus rebounds. And then again, we're going to want one of these crazy value esports plays. Again, the max bet size I can go with for each of these plays is only $60, and you can't include in CS2 on ParlayPlay, you can't include 2 players on the same team in the same slip. So I want to take Giraffe under. All the books have his line 33, 33.5. Okay, value on the under. And now I have 4 picks. But again, ideally I can find, you want to go with these 6-pick entries. That's the best type of slip. And it really matters because they're ripping you off. For these 3-pick entries, they give you a 5x payout. We said earlier, Underdog Fantasy gives you a 6x payout, 100 to win 600. So anyways, we want Jokic's over. So we're good to go there. And then what we can do is just try to find, Tony under in receiving yards. Okay. We want to take this esports play, right? So we want to take his, and this is definitely the best play on the board. So some of the best plays sometimes are in esports. It's all about the data. You're never going to see in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes' passing attempts line is 33 on Underdog, and it's 37.5 on ParlayPlay. That's not going to happen, right? Browns already scored. Ravens already scored. I got the under in this game. But anyways, let's go back here because we need one more pick that we can go with. So we have Tony under, DeBrincat over. So we can refresh this. And it's crazy how a lot of these plays just clear out once the games start. But obviously not that surprising. So we can go to Judy under 4 reception, sure. And again, you just want to be a little careful if you're including picks in the same game, but I'm not. So here we have another 40x payout play. Boom. Boom. And then we can refresh this tool. So again, I just kind of bounce around. You really never know which book is going to have the best plays on a given day. So sometimes there's really good bets on Fliff. Other times it's FanDuel. What's going on Fliff? Oh, the game started. So one strategy that I use on Sportsbook. So again, like these platforms are different. A lot of people use these fixed payout platforms like Underdog. You select 3 picks, you get a 6x payout. There's nothing complicated. There's no odds. There's no numbers. 3 picks, 100 to win 600. But one strategy I really like is arbitrage betting as well. So arbitrage is, again, all these books set their own lines. So when these books get, super out of sync, you can bet the over on one book, the under on another book, the over on DraftKings, the under on Fliff, and make a risk-free profit. So just like we explained middle betting, if we go back to ParlayPlay, if I wanted to, I have Giraffe under 37.5, right? I could take him. I could hedge, right? If I wanted to. This is how you want to think as a sports bettor. A lot of people are just like looking for locks and stuff like that. It's like, that's not how sports betting works. Is these are just plays with an edge, right? 33 versus 37.5. I mean, you'd think that was crazy. If this was Patrick Mahomes' passing attempts line, 33 on one book, 37.5 on another book, it's crazy. So what you could do is you could middle bet this, hit the over 33, the under 37.5. And again, it's possible because all these books set lines independently. So arbitrage betting is when these books get so out of sync that you can bet the over on one book, the under on another book, and make a risk-free profit. So you can see there's a huge discrepancy. Fliff has Julio Jones only plus 310 to score. DraftKings has him plus 750. So there's a huge discrepancy. So you can bet on Jones to score on DraftKings, him to not score on Fliff, and make a risk-free profit. And we can just go through the math quickly. So how does this work? And Fliff has a max bet size of $250. So if you look at all my plays, all these plays I give out on Twitter for free or on these live streams is we have, a ton of bets. I'm already on this Julio Jones play. So I already arbed it, but Fliff has a max bet size of $250, which you'll see 250. A lot of my plays are for $250, 250, right? So essentially, this is going to tell me, hey, you'll make a risk-free 1070. Fliff has a max bet size of 250, so I put that into the calculator, and it tells me hedge on DraftKings 34.76, and you can always round up to 35. That's what I recommend doing. Round your numbers. Don't bet 34.76, and you'll make a risk-free profit of $10.70. So it's like, okay, let's go through the math. So if he scores a touchdown, we're up 35 times 7.5, $35 on DraftKings, right? Just following the calculator, I rounded 34.76 to 35 at plus 750 odds. So we're up 263 on DraftKings. We lose 250 on Fliff. We make $13 in risk-free profit. On the other hand, if he doesn't score a TD, we lose the $35 because I rounded up. We bet on DraftKings on him to score. And on Fliff, we're up 250 times 100 over 550. We bet 250 at minus 550 odds. So we're up $45. So no matter what happens, I'm up $13 or I'm up $10. So you're just day trading the sports books to make a risk-free profit. Where else can you make $10? I mean, these bets take 10 seconds to place, right? Just go over to the Dolphins game. Where are you? You just go over to the Dolphins game on DraftKings. You go here. You go to total touchdowns. Where's Julio Jones, right? Go here. Hit this for the max, 250. You make a risk-free $10. I mean, what beats that? Not much. So you can see really clearing out. But again, depending on the books you use, I'm just using the books that are legal in my location, DraftKings, FanDuel, stuff like that. Depending on where you're located, you may, have different sports books available to you. Jock Market, Bovada, like there's good bets on all these sports books. And again, OddsJam's going to do the same thing for all these sports books. Nothing complicated. It's just going to scan, the tens of thousands of lines on each book and point out, hey, here's a spot where they're offering a good line, where they're offering value. Values, what investors look for, what day traders look for, that's what we're looking for. So I hit this arbitrage bet. I also hit this arbitrage bet. So you hit this one, you make a risk-free $10. Then you head over to Ingram, longest rush. You hit this for 250, this for 212. You make a risk-free $5, which you can see I did. So just making money, in a lot of this, like you can use it to fund your bets, right? So like you hit this, you make a risk-free $5. Now you're $5 richer. Throw that on a parlay if you want, whatever. So you can kind of use arbitrage betting to build your bankroll, your sports betting bankroll. But anyways, now I have way too many books selected. So what's nice about OddsJam is you can just kind of, select the books that you want to see plays from. Again, I recommend get all the books in your location. Most of them have pretty lucrative sign-up bonuses too. They give you money for signing up. So we can see here, like any good bets. And obviously lower profit margin plays are less enticing. So you can see there's some early NBA plays, right? Lower profit margin, 0.76. It's like whatever. But what is nice about sports betting is you got to remember your edge compounds quickly. Like your profit margin, it's daily sometimes, right? Like if you can earn a 2% profit margin on your, let's say, MLB bets, 2%, there's 162 games in the regular season. So your bankroll will grow very quickly. 2% a day, 324% is what your bankroll will grow over the course of the season, right? Your returns are daily. We're betting on games that are today. So I'm not sure why Fliff is a little janky right now. No markets available for the Cardinals Seahawks game. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Fliff? You gonna load? There we go. Now the player props are loading. Super weird. But anyways, we want to take longest reception. And it's important to know how to navigate these books. So I'm going to lock in this for 250 on Fliff for the afternoon games, right? And again, you want to use Fliff cash, max bet size of 250. These Fliff coins are basically fake money. You can get some experience points and stuff like that. And you can see Zach Ertz, it's crazy. You know, maybe another receiver is active for the Cardinals. I mean, there's a bunch of reasons the lines can move, right? Like you can see lines have moved towards him going under 13.5 longest reception. Maybe the coach said, we're going to be targeting another receiver more. There's a lot of reasons the lines can move. So who knows? You know, it's just like the price of a stock. The economy is doing well. Stocks go up. The company's making a lot of money. They had a great earnings report. Stocks go up. You know, like there's a lot of reasons that Zach Ertz can become a bigger favorite to go under. But the amazing thing about comparing book to book is everything's baked into the market, right? Like everything, weather, lineups, players getting injured, not injured. It's all reflected in the odds sportsbooks put out. Like I hear a lot of people say shit like, oh, you know, I'm taking the under because it's going to be snowing. It's like the sportsbooks know it's going to be snowing, right? Like you don't have, like any public information is baked into the odds that sportsbooks are putting out. So you can see, there we go. This play on Ingram's getting even better. Lines are continuing to move towards his under. You can see, boom. So it looks like Pinnacle just crashed down. So they keep telling you, yo, his under's more favored. They moved him from being a minus 140 favorite to go under to now a minus 175 favorite. And again, every odd has an associated probability, right? So like there's different levels of a team being a favorite. You know, minus 120 is a slight favorite. Minus 500 is a huge favorite. So if you take a look at like, you know, the Patriots are winning 10-0. Man, that's crazy. But anyways, you can see like the Seahawks are minus 455 favorites. The Packers are only minus 120 favorites. So what does minus 120 mean? That means 54.55% to win the game. So according to the market, you know, the Packers are 54% roughly to win this game. The Seahawks are minus 455. So what's minus 455? 82% to win the game, according to the betting market, right? Minus 200 means a 2-1 favorite, 2/3 to win, 66.67% to win. Minus 200, 2/3 to win, 66.67% to win the game. Kind of like the stock price. You know, if you look up like Facebook stock price, the price of the stock means the company is worth $794 billion because there's a certain amount of shares of Facebook stock. So if the stock price goes up, you multiply, like the stock price represents how valuable is the company. So every share of Facebook is worth $308.65. If you sum it all up, the company is worth almost $800 billion. So when the stock price goes up, it's reflecting, hey, the company's more valuable. So when the line moves towards a team, if a team moves from being a minus 200 favorite, 66% to win the game, 2/3 to win the game, a 2-1 betting favorite, and they move to minus 300, they're moving from a 2-1 favorite, 2/3 to win, to minus 300, a 3-1 favorite, 3/4 to win, 75% to win the game. Let's go. So anyways, we got a bunch of books selected. Ingram, there's some basketball plays showing up. Here's a nice bet on Fliff. So placing straight bets is a lot easier because you're just looking for value, right? So you can see all these books are moving lines towards his over, right? Odds are dropping on his over. So the market is saying, hey, he's less big of an underdog to go over. Plus 125. So what we can do is we can be like, okay, what is the fair price? If you remove the VIG, what's the fair price? Right? So BetOnline has this plus 100 minus. So this is the most important calculator in sports betting. It's called a no VIG calculator, and it just removes the spread from the market, right? So you can see Barrios over 2.5 receptions. We're getting plus 125 on Fliff. All these books make money by charging a spread. They're like a stockbroker, a car dealer. I'll buy this stock for 100. I'll sell it for 130. $30 spread. That's what BetOnline. So you just want to remove the spread. And you can see with the VIG removed, the fair odds or the no VIG odds is plus 113. So this is for the Eagles game. So we're going to have a play for Sunday Night Football. Yo, I need no points in the Bucs game. No points. No points. So we want to go here, and we'll see if Fliff ends up loading. So they do end up loading. And again, like finding value is the starting point for sports betting. You can always skip over certain plays you don't like, right? So over 2.5 receptions, hit it for the max. Boom. Is again, like if you don't like him to go over, you can always skip over the play. But what I'm, always strongly encourage you not to do is just bet random shit. Like the starting point for profitable sports betting is finding value. Just like you're an investor, the investors think about traders, investors, hedge funds, what price they're buying the stock at. Everything's about value, finding value in the market. If you're placing your bets, at minus 185 on his under, if you only use Fliff and you want to take him to go under, just hold off. If you're placing bets at minus 185, when other books are offering minus 130, minus 135, you're getting ripped off. You're never going to make money if you're getting ripped off, right? It's like being a trader who has to buy every stock or an investor who has to buy every stock at 2 times the price. If you're getting ripped off and you have to buy Facebook at $400, you're never going to be a great investor because you're getting ripped off relative to the market. You need to find value in the market. So anyways, so we already locked in this play. Not a ton of other crap left to bet. Some stuff below 1% profit margin, but, whatever. So then typically I'll be like, okay, let's go back to the arbitrage tool. I already hit this arbitrage bet. I already hit this arbitrage bet. I already hit this arbitrage bet. Made like $20 risk-free from these 3 arbitrage bets. So it's like, okay, good to go. And then what we can do is we can go back to the fantasy optimizer. Not a ton of plays. Not a ton of plays left, which is good. That's what we want to see. So we go back to ParlayPlay. I mean, we just cleared that out. We hit a ton of bets on ParlayPlay. But anyways, maybe there's one last play we can lock in on Underdog Fantasy. It looks like they're dropping a lot of esports lines. So it's not only ParlayPlay that screws up their esports lines. So if you take a look at, this play, Smooya, here, ParlayPlay doesn't have a lineup yet, but, right? Again, in esports, you don't have as many data points. Like in the NFL for player passing yards, it's pretty clear where Mahomes' line should be set because you have dozens of sports books posting lines, and they're all pricing him at, around 280 passing yards. So if we could get over 260, that would be a great bet. If we could get under 300, that would be a great bet. Again, the market is settling. If his line should be higher, Sharp Action would have already bet his line up higher. So again, in esports, you don't have as many data points, but hey, they're still good bets. And esports has some of the biggest discrepancies. And what's great about esports is, again, just how many games there are. Like the NFL is great. I love betting on the NFL. because I like to watch the NFL. But look at how many Underdog has thousands of esports lines up every single day. They're setting lines independently. Same with PrizePicks. So that's a lot of surface area for the books to cover. And sometimes they screw up. So what we want to do is we want to lock in freezes under as well, right? 29.5, 26.5, 27.5. I already have Kenneth Walker to score a touchdown, so that's not going to work. And then I have another play. So again, most plays aren't discrepancies, right? But OddsJam is scanning through these tens of thousands of lines to point out the few plays that actually have value, that actually are discrepancies, which you can see is this 3-pick entry on Underdog Fantasy, right? So PrizePicks, we cleared it out. Underdog, we cleared it out. And enjoy the games.